Let's talk about a geological period that you've probably never even heard of, but it has a totally shocking impact on your life right now, today. We're diving into an era of planetary chaos, creation, and destruction that literally, and I mean literally, forged the world that we all depend on.
Okay, so look at your phone, or maybe think about the battery inside an electric car. They feel like the absolute peak of modern tech, right? But what if I told you that the key ingredients, the stuff that makes them work, were actually put in place 2 billion years ago? Well, that is the incredible mystery we're going to unpack.
You see, to really understand the technology in your pocket, we have to go back in time. And I mean way, way back. We're heading to a period of insane planetary upheaval, a time when the Earth itself was transforming in some of the most violent and spectacular ways you can imagine. We're jumping right into what you could call Earth's turbulent transitional adolescence. Seriously, forget any ideas you have about quiet, slow geology. This was an age of fire, massive impacts, and just radical, world-altering change. So welcome to the Orosirian period.
So, what exactly is the Orosirian? Well, geologists place it between about 2.05 and 1.8 billion years ago. Now, that's a 250 million year stretch of time, and it turned out to be one of the most critical phases in our planet's entire journey from total chaos to the world we know. Just try to picture what daily life was like on this ancient Earth. First off, forget a 24-hour day. The planet was spinning so much faster back then that a full day and night cycle was only about 19 hours long. And if you looked up into the sky, whoa, the moon was so much closer to Earth. It would have looked absolutely enormous, just looming over the landscape. And its gravity was so powerful that it created these colossal, world-sloshing tides. It was a truly alien planet. And at the exact same time, the very air we would one day breathe was changing. After billions of years, oxygen was finally starting to build up in the atmosphere. Now, this was a total game changer for the future of life, but it also created a super unstable climate because it was breaking down greenhouse gases like methane. But the Orosirian wasn't just about what was happening in the sky, it was fundamentally about the ground beneath our feet. This was an era defined by a creative force on an unimaginable scale, the birth of massive, massive mountain ranges. In fact, the name itself tells you the whole story. It comes from the ancient Greek word orosera, which literally means mountain range. And it was chosen for a very good reason. The Orosirian was the absolute peak of mountain building activity in our planet's entire 4.5 billion year history. Plate tectonics was going wild. You had these ancient continental cores just smashing into each other all over the globe. This is what thrust up these colossal mountain ranges that formed the bedrock of places like North America and Scandinavia. And all these collisions were slowly piecing together a future supercontinent called Columbia. But the Orosirian wasn't just about the slow, grinding violence of continents colliding. No, it was also defined by sudden, cataclysmic destruction from space. This era wasn't just being shaped from below, it was being hammered from above. About 2.023 billion years ago, something truly terrible happened. As our source material puts it, the silence of the ancient world was shattered, and one of the greatest cataclysms our planet has ever known was unleashed from the heavens. The threat was a giant asteroid, an object estimated to be up to 15 kilometers in diameter. That is bigger than Mount Everest is tall, was on a direct collision course with Earth. The impact was instantaneous and absolutely apocalyptic. It blasted out a crater nearly 300 kilometers wide. To give you some perspective, that's big enough to completely swallow the entire Kanto Plain of Japan, including all of Tokyo. The scar it left behind, the Vredefort Dome, you can still see it in South Africa today. It is almost impossible to wrap your head around the power involved here. The energy released was billions, with a B times greater than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The Earth's crust was literally vaporized, and rock from near the mantle was instantly thrown up to the surface. The fallout was global. Just unbelievable amounts of dust were hurled into the stratosphere, blocking out the sun and plunging the entire planet into a dark, freezing impact winter. And that was followed by devastating acid rain that basically poisoned the surface of the oceans. But here is where the story takes this incredible turn. Because out of all that unimaginable destruction came an unexpected act of creation, a gift really, that we are still benefiting from 2 billion years later. And this reveals this incredible paradox. The very same event that shattered the planet's crust also somehow managed to preserve some of its greatest treasures. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, this slide just breaks it down perfectly. You see, the geologic events of the Orosirian are what created or saved the raw materials for our modern world. Those huge magma intrusions, they give us platinum for things like catalytic converters. Another massive impact up at Sudbury, Canada, that gave us the nickel and copper we need for EV batteries. And the Vredefort impact, well, it saved the gold. And this is the most amazing part of the whole story. There's a really strong theory that the Vredefort impact acted like a giant protective lid. The shockwaves buried the gold-rich Witwatersrand Basin, shielding it from billions of years of erosion. And the result of that? An estimated 40% of all the gold ever mined by humanity is here today because of that one asteroid. So we've gone from violent planetary collisions all the way to the tiny components inside your phone. But you know what? We've only just scratched the surface of this incredible era. The full story of the Orosirian is even more complex and, frankly, even more dramatic. Because this just brings up so many more questions, right? Like, what was going on with those wildly fluctuating oxygen levels? When did the first complex cells, the ancestors of all animals and plants, finally show up? And did you know there was another mega asteroid impact during the same period? Yeah, the answers to all of those are waiting for you. The full source material that this explainer is based on covers everything from that oxygen yo-yo to that second massive impact in Canada, this strange poison sea that might have stalled evolution, and even the origin of the mitochondria that are inside every single one of your cells. So why this matters is crystal clear. The Orosirian isn't just some dusty ancient history. It's the literal foundation of our modern technological world. To really feel the pulse of the Earth from 2 billion years ago and to get the whole incredible picture, I highly recommend you go check out the complete article. The full story is right there waiting for you. All right, let's journey back in time, and I mean way back, 2 billion years to be exact. We're diving into what you could call Earth's wild, chaotic teenage years, the Orosirian period. This was an era of fire, collision, and creation that literally shaped the ground we walk on today. So let's find out how much you really know about it. So I have to ask, how well do you think you know Earth's most chaotic era? Are you ready to put your knowledge to the test? Welcome to the Orosirian Challenge. It's super simple. I've got 10 questions for you. Just keep track of your score as we go. Sound good? Okay, let's dive right in. First up, round 1, an era defined. We're going to start with the absolute basics. Question 1 is all about the name. Orosirian. It sounds pretty epic, right? But what does that name actually mean, and where does it come from? And the answer is mountain range. It comes from the ancient Greek word Orosira, and that name is no accident. It was a time of unbelievable mountain building. If you knew that one, give yourself a point. Okay, let's build right on top of that. Question 2. If the name means mountain range, that's a huge clue. What's the geological term for the mountain building process that was going completely wild during this time? That process is called orogenic activity, or just orogeny for short. This is when continents are slamming into each other, pushing up these absolutely massive mountain ranges. If you've got 2 points already, you're on fire. All right, question number 3. We know this was a long time ago, but geologists are pretty specific. So what is the exact time frame for the Orosirian period? The Orosirian lasted for a whopping 250 million years, stretching from 2.05 all the way to 1.8 billion years ago. You can see it right there on the timeline, sandwiched in the middle of a really critical era for Earth's development. Okay, last question for this round. Picture yourself on Earth back then. The planet was spinning a lot faster than it is today. So how long would one single day have felt? A day was only about 19 to 20 hours long. Can you even imagine? And the moon would have looked enormous in the sky because it was so much closer. It was a completely different world. So that's the end of round 1. How's your score looking? Get ready for round 2, cosmic collisions. Because the Orosirian wasn't just shaped by things happening on the planet, it was shaped by things smashing into the planet. Question 5. About 2 billion years ago, a massive asteroid, we're talking 10 to 15 kilometers wide, hit the Earth. It left behind an enormous scar that you can still see today. What do we call it?
But before I tell you the name, just get a sense of the scale here. The crater it left behind was an estimated 300 kilometers wide. That is just mind-blowing. That scar is called the Vredefort Dome. It is officially the largest and oldest confirmed impact structure we've ever found on this planet. It's now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a constant reminder of just how violent Earth's past really was.
But Vredefort wasn't the only cosmic bullseye. Question 6. Another massive impact, this time in what is now Canada, created a gigantic deposit of valuable ores, giving the area its nickname, the Nickel Capital. What's the geological name for that formation? It's called the Sudbury Igneous Complex. And here is the truly incredible part. That ancient disaster is one of the main reasons we have enough nickel to build the batteries for modern electric cars. A direct line from a 2 billion-year-old catastrophe to the technology in your driveway. And that brings us perfectly to our final round, a lasting inheritance. This is where we connect all those violent, ancient events to the world, the resources, and even the life we see all around us today.
All right, question 7. Right at the beginning of the Orosirian, a single mind-bogglingly huge volcanic event in South Africa gave birth to a formation that holds most of the world's platinum. Do you know what it's called?
It's the Bushveld Complex, and this chart really says it all. Almost 80% of all the platinum on Earth is found in this one spot. It's a true geological treasure chest. Question 8 takes us back to that Vredefort impact. Now, here's a wild twist of fate. This event of total destruction actually ended up preserving something incredibly valuable. What famous gold deposit did the impact inadvertently protect from erosion? The Witwatersrand Basin. The impact was so powerful, it basically folded the Earth's crust over these gold deposits, creating a protective lid. This shield preserved what would become about 40% of all the gold humanity has ever mined. Just incredible.
Okay, for question 9, let's step away from geology and into biology. Because amidst all this chaos and destruction, a brand new revolutionary kind of life was emerging. What do we call this type of complex cell that's the foundation for all animals, including us? They are called eukaryotes. These were the first cells to have a proper nucleus and all those little internal parts. Every single plant and animal you've ever seen is made of eukaryotic cells. Their arrival on the scene was a game changer for life on Earth. And here we are, the final question. This is a tough one for the real geology buffs. When that Vredefort asteroid hit, the friction was so intense, it instantly melted the rock around it, which then cooled into something totally new. What's the technical name for this special kind of rock? The answer is pseudo-tachyllite. It's an awesome name that basically means false volcanic glass. If you pulled that one out, you are a true rock star. And that's it. That's all 10 questions. Go ahead and add up your final score. So let's see how you did, and more importantly, let's talk about the legacy of this incredible period and why it still matters so much. So, how'd you do? If you got 0 to 4 right, you're an aspiring geologist. Welcome to the journey. 5 to 7 correct, you are officially a plate tectonics pro. And if you scored 8 to 10, give yourself a round of applause. You are a certified Orosirian scholar. But hey, no matter how you scored, this is the real takeaway. The Orosirian is not just ancient history collecting dust. The platinum from the Bushveld complex, it's probably in your car's catalytic converter. The nickel from the Sudbury impact, it's powering our electric vehicle revolution. And that gold, it's in our phones, our computers, and our whole financial system. This quote just says it all perfectly, doesn't it? The past isn't just the past. The events of 2 billion years ago are directly and powerfully shaping the world we live in right now. And, this challenge was really just the tip of the iceberg of an absolutely incredible story. The full story is even more wild. We're talking about massive, unexplained spikes and crashes in oxygen levels, a toxic, poison sea that smelled like sulfur, and it even answers the question of where the little powerhouses inside your own cells, your mitochondria, actually came from. So this quiz was just a quick look. For the complete 15-chapter deep dive into this amazing era, just find the link and continue your journey. Thanks so much for taking the challenge.